Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, yesterday we had updated figures on the cost of replacing Trident when the government published its Strategic Defence and Security Review. The latest estimate is that manufacturing 4 replacement submarines is likely to cost a total of £31 billion. That's an increase on previous estimates, which put the cost at around £25 billion. In case costs overrun, the government will also set aside another £10 billion. The government also said yesterday that there will be a full parliamentary debate on Trident next year, but did not commit to a vote on the issue at the same time. This afternoon, however, MPs will have a chance to vote on Trident in a non-binding Opposition Day debate tabled by the SNP. Let's talk now to the SNP's defence spokesman, Brendan O'Hara, who joins us from inside Parliament. Brendan O'Hara, what do you hope to achieve from today's opposition debate?
Well, what we hope to achieve is, when we were elected in May, we were elected on 3 platforms. One was to get the maximum devolution of power to Scotland and the delivery of the vow. The second was to oppose tooth and nail the government's austerity agenda. And the third was to oppose Trident renewal. So it means that within the first 6 months of us being elected here, we have fulfilled that promise we made to the Scottish people.
But the motion has no legal force. It's sure to be defeated. So you're just playing politics, aren't you? You just want to expose the divisions within the Labour Party.
Well, I'm astonished that you think that we would have to take this vote to the House of Commons in order to expose the divisions within the Labour Party. The divisions in the Labour Party are there for all to see.
Yes, and you want to make them even more evident.
No, I think this is an entirely legitimate motion to take to the Scottish Parliament, to the House of Commons. Scotland has spoken very, very strongly against Trident. The Scottish Government is opposed to Trident, the Scottish Parliament is opposed to Trident.
It's not a devolved issue though, is it?
The STUC is opposed to Trident, the Scottish churches are opposed to Trident, the Scottish National Party, the Scottish Greens, the Scottish Socialists and even the Labour Party in Scotland are opposed to Trident. So we have a perfect legitimate right to come here and put forward the case against Trident.
Right.
Because there is a consensus in Scotland and we are articulating that consensus.
Right, well, let me put that to Alan Johnson. They're not playing politics. They have a right to hold a motion like this. It's nothing to do with exposing divisions that are all there for everyone to see within the Labour Party.
Whether it is or whether it isn't, of course they can put down a motion. We're going to abstain on this. It's not an issue that will have the slightest effect on the renewal of Trident. You've got to remember there's been a parliamentary process on this. In 2007, when we were in government, we had a vote on the principle of whether we should renew Trident. I was one of those marching through with 460 of my colleagues. It was overwhelmingly carried. That was the first stage. The next stage, there was a little bit in between, which needn't detain us. The next stage is what's called the main gate. And no manufacturing will start on a replacement of Trident until we've gone through the main gate. That's the big decision next year. I can't quite understand why the government aren't confirming there'll be a vote on that. But that's where Brendan and the SNPs and all elected MPs will have a meaningful say on whether we replace
And we know what the SNP, where they stand, and we know where the government stand, and Labour Party current policy is to renew Trident. But the current Labour leadership, of course, wants to review that decision.
Yes.
Is that wrong?
What, to review it? No, perfectly sensible to review the decision.
And we don't know where Labour stands at the moment, do we? So we have the, Her
we do
Majesty's
know
opposition.
where
we
don't. We do know where Labour stands. They might be reviewing it. Our current policy, as determined at our conference, and not changed by the decision at the Scottish conference, is we are in favour of multilateral nuclear disarmament. Brendan and I would agree on no one wants a world of nuclear weapons. The question is, how is it best to proceed to a non-nuclear world?
Brendan.
What I would say to you, Alan, is I don't see how you can hide behind the fig leaf of multilateralism while at the same time committing to spend £167,000 million on a new generation of nuclear weapons.
How much?
You cannot possibly argue that we make the world a safer place by investing that amount of public money in more weapons of mass destruction.
Right,
No,
and that cost has gone up, of course,
no,
and that was the announcement.
It's gone up to 31 billion, not the 100 billion that people
but
like
let's
Brendan
take the
was
figure.
suggesting.
Hang on, Brendan. Let's just take the figures that it's gone up by 6 billion, and another 10 billion is now going to be put aside for contingency.
If you look at the lifetime costs of Trident, it was recently put in as £167,000 million, the lifetime cost.
Right, OK,
Yeah,
well, let me just...
That's ridiculous. It's the cost of decommissioning loads of other stuff. The actual cost, 31 billion, it's gone up from 25 billion. That is 620 million pounds
well, does Jeremy Corbyn not have a point?
Over a 50-year lifespan. Yes, it's expensive. It's not excessive. Brendan asked a question about, as if, you see, this is the thing with the Nats and the unilateral disarmament, is they question the integrity of anyone who dares suggest that we are safer as a country if we have a nuclear deterrent. I've seen no argument to suggest that it's a safer world now than it was in 2007, when we took an overwhelming decision in Parliament to begin the process of Trident renewal.
Are you playing politics, Brendan O'Hara, with national security here?
Not in the slightest. In fact, what I would say about national security is that I would argue vehemently that Trident actually undermines our national security, because Trident is not a defensive weapon. Trident is a political weapon. Trident is there to secure the United Kingdom's place at the top table of the United Nations Security Council. It is a vanity project, an incredibly expensive and ultimately worthless vanity project, because these weapons can never and will never be used.
But Brendan, your party's in favour of remaining part of NATO, so you just don't want nuclear weapons on the Clyde?
No, not at all. We want rid of nuclear weapons, but nuclear
you'll
weapons...
be protected by NATO nuclear weapons.
Well, if you're accusing us of hypocrisy, then I suggest that you go around just about every other member of NATO and do the same. You've got to start disarming somewhere. And do you know, we're not even asking the Labour Party to agree to disarm. We're asking the Labour Party not to renew.
Well,
not to spend £167,000 million
All right.
on weapons of mass destruction.
Right, hang on, Brendan. But Alan Johnson, I mean, isn't the problem that we're not going to know where Labour stands for a long time? I've had Labour MPs...
No, you know where Labour stands now.
Right.
We know where Labour stands now.
But that could change. And it could change if that review...
But it could change. The SNP policy could change. They could become...
You know, the Labour Party has a policy, as you say. It could change, and we're not going to know, and the voters won't know until there's been this very long process.
With all due respect, political parties review their policies all the time.
This is a key decision.
It is a key decision, but our policy is that we are in favour of retaining Trident. We're actually reducing the number of warheads. We've reduced our nuclear capability as part of the non-proliferation treaty.
Scottish Labour are against it?
Scottish Labour decided that their conference would be against it. The National Party at our conference decided not to debate it.
Let me ask, Brendan, what is your party's position, Brendan? What's your position on supporting military action in Syria?
If I could just answer, Alan...
Well, just very briefly.
Just for a second. You know, if we're led to believe, as we were told during the referendum campaign, that we are a family of nations, and this particular section of the family says we do not want Trident nuclear weapons, and you say, too bad, we're going to foist them upon you. It's unacceptable.
Well, it's not a devolved issue,
unacceptable.
Right. Hang on, Brendan. It isn't a devolved issue, that is true. But, Brendan, can I just ask you, what is the SNP's position? What's your position on supporting military action in Syria?
We have said absolutely, unequivocally, that there has to be a Chapter 7 resolution. That, you know, the government cannot come back and offer up what they've offered up in the past and expect us just to meekly accept what they offer up. There has to be a Chapter 7 resolution, and then thereafter we will look at what the government has to say.
So you weren't satisfied with the UN resolution that was passed on Friday, which said by all necessary means defend yourself?
I don't think you can accept that the enabling resolution on Friday was a green light or has given legal legitimacy for military action. It has to be a Chapter 7 resolution.
All right, Brendan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've been getting